Now, videos like this are really hard to make because there are so many classes, there are so many different things in World of Warcraft that allow for just crazy counter comps. There's classes that can counter another class, and obviously there's strengths and weaknesses for choosing one in different situations. So I don't mean to downgrade any of those classes, but I would like to give my opinion of the top 3 classes in Arena for this month, October 2016, since this is like the very first month where there's tournaments happening. The high rated play is really solidified within the game, and I think that now we're in a position where we can really address the best classes. So again, jumping into my top 3, the very first one that I want to bring up is going to be the Assassination Rogue. And the Assassination Rogue has taken a very commanding role within Arena because of their really crazy damage. They're able to get out a huge amount of single target damage with their tons of bleeds and poisons. They do have a little bit less CC since they don't have blind, but it's fine because of how much damage they can really get out on a target. And I think that when they're able to offer that kind of damage, they're able to take classes like Warlock and Shadow Priest, which really doesn't have any way of getting away from these Assassination Rogues. And Assassination Rogues are a very clear counter to those classes, and that's why they're so successful right now, the Assassination Rogues, is because the Shadow Priest and the Affliction Warlock are actually very strong, but since there's that very clear counter, and there's really not a clear-cut way of being able to survive versus Assassination Rogue, that's why they're so commanding right now. And what's interesting is that over the last month in the last tournament, like the North American and EU regionals that just happened, and if you guys don't know what that is, it's like the best teams in the world within their respective region competing against each other in order to go to the World Championship and compete against other regions at BlizzCon. And at these 2 regional tournaments, you saw a counter come about. And this brings me to my second class, which is very interesting, is that the Retribution Paladin, which is weird to say because it's really never been the best class, but the Retribution Paladin offers a lot right now because they were actually buffed like 4 times in a row throughout the tuning patches. They've been offered a lot more damage than they used to. They've been given a little bit more mobility by having that extra charge of Divine Seed if you so choose that. And I think that right now, since Assassination Rogues are so good, Retribution Paladins actually offer a really solid way of being able to counter that class. And you might be wondering why they can counter that class, but Retribution Paladins obviously have something called Blessing of Protection, which removes all of those physical dots off of a target. And with Assassination Rogues, all of their damage actually comes from physical dots. So their main damage comes from their main cooldown called Vendetta. And with Retribution Paladins, and why they're so strong and relevant right now, is because not only can they put off a solid amount of damage and utility, but they also can counter Assassination Rogues by putting up a Blessing of Protection every time somebody puts a Vendetta on their teammate, right? So if Vendetta is like this huge amount of damage and you just Blessing of Protection off, that is considered pretty much a counter because it takes Assassination Rogue threats out of the game pretty much. So with all that being said, I think that will move me to the third and final class, which is like a very strong class overall. And this really doesn't counter anything specifically, but it is one of those classes that offers a really well-rounded appearance and play style, and that's actually going to be the Enhancement Shaman. So the Enhancement Shaman is one of those classes that are very hard throughout the game. They're not easy to play, but the fact of the matter is that they offer stuff like crazy things like Counter-Strike Totem, which Counter-Strike Totem has taken a very important role in Arena because Frost Mages were supposed to be really great because of their Glacial Spike damage. Glacial Spike can hit upwards of 1,000,000, but with Enhancement Shamans, they can actually just Counter-Strike Totem before that Glacial Spike hits anybody, and there's really no room for counterplaying that, and Counter-Strike Totem will reflect all of that damage back on somebody. So you could be incoming, there could be an incoming 1,000,000 crit, but if that damage, again, that 1,000,000 damage gets reflected back, and transferred over to somebody else, and that's a really big threat. And I think that is one of the niches that Enhancement Shaman have capabilities for. But at the same time, Enhancement Shamans also can survive pretty well since they have a really solid amount of self-healing with their Maelstrom instant cast healing surges. And then there's also the incredible amount of burst damage that comes out from an Enhancement Shaman, and that goes with a couple things. So there's the Ascendance, which offers just a huge amount of damage on its own, but actually every few seconds, Enhancement Shamans only can Bloodlust for themselves and one other person. And that is huge. There hasn't been Bloodlust in Arena for a really long time. And now that Bloodlust is back in Arena for only Enhancement Shamans, they have a very relevant space in Arena in the meta overall. You've seen Enhancement Shamans play with Warlocks. You've seen them play with Assassination Rogues. You've seen them pair up with Rep Paladins. I mean, they're with Warriors. Like, they're really, really versatile. And I think that they're probably the most well-rounded class right now for everything that they offer. But yeah, guys, I know that those are just DPS stuff. I want to speak a little bit to healers before I go, even though it's only supposed to be the top 3. And I think that with healers, it's pretty much the Mistweaver Monk and the Resto Druid. Those are like the best. I think that all healers are viable in their own way, but you're seeing a lot of play come out of Resto Druid and Mistweaver Monk, because Mistweaver Monk offers an uninterruptible, castable while moving heal, and they're extremely mobile, they're extremely hard to kill, because of like all of these melee that are coming about in the meta. But Mistweavers are very, very hard to catch, and that's why they're so strong right now. But on the same, on the other end, there's also Resto Druids, which excel in surviving and also excel in spread pressure damage. So they're able to, if there's like a Warlock and a Shadow Priest putting dots up on your whole team, Restoration Druids are really meant to survive with that. That's like their main niche. So again, guys, I hope that this brought some light on this month and how the arena is kind of shaping. I think that there's a lot to come, especially with the tuning patch that's coming in 7.1. I will try my best to keep offering this information, so if you'd like to keep up to date with arena and what's looking good and what's looking bad, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can also leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it. Feel free to leave your comments down below. Again, I did not mean to downgrade anyone's class. Like, I personally play Fire Mage and Demon Hunter, which have been nerfed into the ground, but I do want to bring light on what people are playing, what people are paying attention to, and I'm very excited to see how Arena continues moving forward, because I think that we will be moving forward, we will be moving in a better direction, and I cannot wait to be a part of that. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.